episode 2. I am Sean Cove. That is Payday Jones. We are on the second half of our episode this week, which means you're seeing it probably on Thursday morning after midday. Thursday at noon, because that's when these things come out.
Right.
We spoke a little bit briefly earlier on the episode that's right below this one in the YouTube list about immigrants and the things that they have brought to America that we should be grateful for, because this is the Thanksgiving season, so let us give thanks.
Right.
Another thing that we should give thanks for, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it.
A lot of people, so I go in waves, right, on my my YouTube consumption.
Yeah, okay. Sometimes it's BMX.
Yeah.
Sometimes do you do actual like construction YouTube? Like, do you watch?
Nah, fuck no.
Just to see if you're out on the leading edge of ththings.
No.
Okay.
I want nothing to do with construction when I'm not doing construction, cause you and Mike. Gav swears. He swears that I don't know why you don't like it. But that's a rookie way to look at it.
Well,
you know?
I'm only thinking from like the perspective of there's a potential to speed up your job and make it more efficient, and maybe somebody else says something, you go, oh shit, I could save 20 minutes a day on the job site if I did it this way. But you probably have to pour through everything to find that, and that's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably, like you're saying, I could find out about like new materials and maybe like, new tools and possibly better ways to do things, except I don't want to.
I don't care.
I am what you call a utilitarian carpenter, right? I can build you things well, sturdy, and, sufficient.
Right.
But don't come at me trying to do some old fancy shit, because I just have no interest.
Right.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to build cool shit.
You're the build a square guy.
Yeah. We had what's it called? We had Louis G's job. Louis G asked, we had a door that was going to a storage unit, and I'm like, it's a small door. He kept calling it a hobbit door.
Okay.
So I'm like, look, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to get a regular pre-hung door that's solid. Instead of the 6-panel like design on it, it's just going to be a flat door.
Right.
And we're going to cut it down so that it fits in this 64-inch door opening. And then, boom, you got a door. He comes, a couple days later, he's like, she doesn't really want that. She's hoping that maybe you could put a door that kind of blends in. So I'm like, okay. I guess I could like put it like a panel and put some door trim around it and make it look the best I can, but I don't really know what else to do here.
Right.
He's like, yeah, no, like more like a trap door, like a access panel.
Is the rest of the wall painted or wallpaper?
Painted.
Okay. So like you could just put that flat door up and then paint everything so it just blends in?
Could have.
Okay.
But that's not how they wanted to do it.
Okay.
So I wind up building like an access panel and putting it on hinges, right?
Okay.
But I wasn't sure how I was going to do this until I started doing it. And even then I wasn't sure how it was going to get done until it was done, right? And I did figure it out. Am I super happy with it? Nah. It's sufficient. I'm a sufficient carpenter.
Right.
I am a utilitarian carpenter. I did what had to be done.
It simultaneously comes close to what you would want to accomplish and what they wanted from you.
Yeah. However, we were talking about this thing for, 2 weeks prior. And every time it comes up, me and Gav are in the truck on the way home, and he's like, well, what we could do is put shadow boxes around the entire room, so then you make that door look like a shadow box, and like put a hidden hinge so that it flips upside down, turns backwards, and then lifts up like a garage door and slides into a pocket that you don't know is there. And like that would be really cool. I'm like, yeah,
it would.
Yeah, it would. I'm not doing that.
It does. It sounds awesome.
It's like, all right, I get it. And then like 2 days later, it comes up again, and he's like, oh, look, dude, Home Depot sells bookshelf doors, so we could like put it like it's a secret book. I'm like, stop. Stop doing this. Like, we're trying, like, listen, because I was supposed to charge him for the door and the time, which I didn't. I just rolled it in because whatever. We made some money over there, so like I don't have to. Like, the idea was like, hey, we don't have a price on this because we don't know what we're gonna do. So you're going to have to pay for whatever it is going forward. Wound up not having to pay anything extra the way it worked out. Mike is trying to do a $2,000 door job.
Right, and sneak it in the bill.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter to him what the bill is. He's still getting paid the same. He just has this thing like, I just want to do cool shit.
Yeah,
I'm like,
dreaming big.
Yeah, I just want to get out of this job.
I just want to be finished.
Yeah, I just don't want to do any of this shit. So, meet me where I'm standing.
Right. I'm a foreman. I got this.
Oh, dude, I flipped on him the other day. And me and Mike, like, sometimes I just get sick of him, and I know he gets sick of me, but that's because we're side by side so many hours a day. I love Mikey, but,
this doesn't mean you're not going to fight.
We're over in Willenboro, and I say, yo, go put the marble sill, like the threshold in upstairs. Do you know how to do that? Now, it's not a crazy question for me to ask Mike anything that he knows how to do, because one, he works for me, and two, he's only been in the business for like less than 2 years, right? So he's very good for less than 2 years.
But that doesn't mean he's encountered everything there is to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know how to do it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, how are you going to do it? And he starts telling me, right? And I don't remember what he said, but whatever he said, I was like, no.
That's all wrong.
What did I say?
Take down the door frame.
Or I said something like, well, how are you going to do that? And he turns and he goes, don't worry about it. And it like sent me through the roof. I'm like, the fuck you mean don't worry about it? I'm like, I am worried about it. This is my job and my name is on the shit. So don't tell me not to worry about it like and flipped on him. And then I gave him a kiss.
Oh, that's nice.
I said, sorry, buddy. That
you
pissed me off there.
I went off the deep end, but I can reel it back in. I apologize. But yeah, it's your name and you're the foreman, so you have every right to at least ask. Now, I do understand on the other side of it how sometimes that can be insulting. Like asking him if he can accomplish a basic thing can feel kind of.
Oh no! Listen,
you know what I mean?
And if he never made a mistake,
right? Well,
then it would definitely be insulting.
That's the other way too.
But his track record, he ain't batting 1,000. Nobody's batting 1,000.
No,
I'm only batting 500.
Right, which is Hall of Fame numbers, but that's good enough.
Exactly. But that's like he wants to do fancy shit and do the extra thing and do this that way. So he's a guy who would watch YouTube construction
and HGTV.
Yeah, I want to just get the shit done and get home so I can go to the gym, hang out with my kids, my kid and my wife, and then do a podcast on Friday night.
Whatever we can accomplish from the scrap wood at Home Depot is what we're doing. And
whatever,
that's that.
just get the bills. Just make me enough money to pay the bills.
Right.
So my YouTube, it goes through phases, right?
Okay.
Is where this all stemmed from here.
Right.
Sometimes it's BMX, sometimes a lot of podcasts or some stand-up. There's, other things get sprinkled in there like travel videos.
Okay.
And then one thing that like comes and goes in cycles is fitness YouTube.
Okay.
I got a particular few guys that I watch, and then it recommends some other guys that I don't watch.
Okay.
It seems like in the YouTube fitness realm, they love to make fun of Planet Fitness.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you get to like this certain tier of fitness training, I guess, yeah, it does seem like they look down on Planet Fitness as if their weights don't weigh the same.
It's because their weights only go up to like 40 pounds.
Okay.
Right. It's if you're a top tier fitness guy, Planet Fitness can only do so much for you.
Which I get. I mean, but that's like any sort of anything that you get into, any kind of training or hobby that you get into, there's going to be like this. We can only get so much out of this place, and then we go to these specialized places that just offer more, more tuned to what I want to do.
Right, correct. And so Planet Fitness winds up being the butt of a lot of jokes in a lot of fitness circles. And I see it all the time, and I understand why it's the butt of jokes. Don't get me wrong here. They try and feed you pizza on Fridays.
Right.
Which, like, that doesn't really make that much sense to me. Like, hey, have a really great workout and then eat one of the worst things that you could for yourself. just to make sure you keep coming back.
Well, there's that. Yeah. I think
we don't want you to get too fit and move on to LA Fitness.
Right. I think there's probably like a whole lot of crossroads here. And I'm sure that one of them is the fact that like Planet Fitness kind of, it's more subtle now, but they certainly kind of make fun of muscle heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make fun of, they there's a lunkhead alarm.
Yeah.
Like if you start being that guy who's in the corner just grunting and moving everything, someone can.
Yeah. If you're working hard, we're going to start,
Not just working hard. Like there's people who work hard and you emit sounds while you're working hard. And then there's those people, they got to be at your gym too.
Who are trying.
Just like everything they're lifting. Rah, rah,
yeah,
like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Relax.
My gym does, I don't know of not one of those dudes who shows up at my gym. There's one guy floating around most gyms and it's usually only one jerk off who's doing that, who's clearly just being a jerk off, and anybody else who's like fitter than him, he gets looked down upon.
Right.
Like, stop being a doofus,
right?
But whatever. Planet Fitness has its downfalls, but also it's the butt of jokes, but it plays its role.
Sure.
Right? Because, like, I saw something the other day, and I was like, let me leave a comment on these people making fun of Planet Fitness, because without Planet Fitness, some guys are not going to be where they are. Like, I had done 18 months and did a whole lot of push-ups and pull-ups and dips and lifted a lot of water bags, and then came home with I didn't have 40 or 50 bucks to join a decent gym.
Right.
I did have the $10 a month that it costs to go to Planet Fitness in Brooklawn, and so that's what I did. And I worked out the best I could while I was there, and I got in shape. And it was like the gateway of like, hey, I don't have much, but I have this $10 a month, and I'm buying into my fitness, which is a thing that keeps on carrying you and bringing you up the charts in life and success. Like, my success in life is directly correlated to fitness in some aspect or another,
to your discipline, and the fitness is the first thing probably that really you can show as as your proof of discipline.
Right. If I have nothing else, and I had this conversation with a friend who's having some troubles in his life with like his home scenario and his relationship and shit like that, and there's a bunch of headaches stemming out around that. And I was like, why are you not at the gym? He was like, well, I got all this stuff going on, and it's just hard to make it to the gym. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's hard. I work in construction 60 hours a week.
Right.
And I still make time to go to the gym because that's where your base is. Like, you going to the gym, and even if it's 45 minutes a day, you going to the gym for yourself for 45 minutes a day puts you in the mindset of, I'm taking care of myself, right? And you start building yourself up, and you get out of this rut, and all of a sudden your relationship starts looking better because you're, standing on your square, so to speak.
Right.
So your problems start maybe not solving themselves, but they start working themselves out a little bit, and you put the other effort into that. Like, that, to me, is the beginning solution to almost all of life's problems, is go to the gym every day. Like, or whatever your program is. Yeah, whatever your program is. But that is your base building block for things going well in life. And so at that time when I came home and things could have went wildly astray, one of the things that kept them from doing that was I had this gym to go to every day, because I was probably going every day at that point, to go to every day and work out and know that like I'm working on these things and putting my base into place so everything else can function around it. Now, it fell apart at some point, but
that's going to happen. I mean,
that's outside influence.
Yeah, and I think at a certain point, unless you can actually monetize working out in some way, shape, or form, you're going to run into issues. You know what I mean? Like, you're at the gym every day, plus you're working, plus you have a family to take care of. These are all things that are going to intersect at some point to where you're going to have to say every now and then, okay, I can't go to the gym this week, and that's just the way it is, and it sucks. So unless you can find a way to actually oh, well, I make my money going to the gym, so that is my job, so I go. You're going to run into things fall apart every now and then. It's a matter of, can you pull the plane out of the nosedive and get back
in
and
the
get
grind.
back?
Yeah. I've been having some weak. My fitness has been kind of weak. I've still been going to the gym, but I haven't been having great workouts. But whatever.
Yeah, I think the Planet Fitness thing, I think it's no different than BMW owners who look down on Chevy owners, right? It's like they're serving two different purposes, so you don't even need to interact with them. I know you used it, and there are people who go to Planet Fitness and then graduate upwards, if you will. But a lot of people are just there because they don't feel comfortable at a gym, and for whatever reason, their casual atmosphere, their pizza on Fridays, makes you feel a little more at ease of being in this place. You don't feel as much like people are staring at me and people are worried about what I'm doing, and that bothers me, and then I'm not going to go because I don't like to be stared at. And I have found, it's very curious to me, I have found that, like, as I've gotten older and as I paid attention to more stuff, more diverse stuff, a lot of what would be considered the musclehead guys are super duper encouraging guys, and not really this thing that they're painted as, which is they're all just assholes who think everybody who's fat and weighs more than them is a piece of shit who should die.
Right.
Like, a good majority of them want to root for you, and will tell you, oh, you're doing this way, why don't you try doing this way, because you might see better results from it. And that personality doesn't get communicated very well, and that's why places like Planet Fitness kind of need to exist, because there are people who just, I don't want to go to the gym and there's a guy next to me benching 400 pounds and I'm pushing up the bar and struggling. I'm just going to feel like a shithead.
Well, that comes from the guys who have gotten in great shape and are living a fitness-based lifestyle, know how good they feel, as opposed to how they felt when they weren't working out at all. And it's you want to share it. You want to be like, look, keep going, dude, because this gets better. You're going to love yourself more. You're going to start taking better care of yourself. You're going to see some results. You're going to this, that, and the third. And for, so the thought to me is that we should be celebrating Planet Fitness to have that spot.
For sure.
Because we're, like you said, guys who are super fit are going to root for anybody who has just started working out, right? Like, I see these young guys in the gym. There's actually these twin kids. They can't be any more than 17. They're probably less than 17 because I always see them getting dropped off by their mom or something, right? Twin kids who were scrawny little dudes 6 months ago, right? And I see them every night that I'm at the gym between 5 and 6. One of the two of them is there, and they're working out, and they got the goofy TikTok haircut and a dangly earring and shit, right? But I've noticed over the past 6 months, these dudes turned from scrawny little kids that probably weighed about $120 to they look like they're like, $140, $150. They got some muscle and they're starting to like fill out a little bit. And I don't really talk to them guys, but I notice them, and to myself, I'm like, I see you guys. Good for you, dude. You're out here trying to do something.
If they ever came to you and asked you a question, as long as they weren't actually interrupting a thing at that moment, I would love to chat with them. In my mind, you would sit them down and say, hey, this is what you're asking, this is what I do, and this is some other places you can look for other advice.
Without a doubt. But I think that is the general consensus for most guys who live a fitness lifestyle. And so it's just kind of it's almost an oxymoron that Planet Fitness becomes the butt of jokes.
Yeah.
Because given that situation face to face with a Planet Fitness-y, you would talk to them a lot differently. You would be a lot more motivational and shit like that. Instead, we make it the butt of our jokes. But also, they are just that, jokes. So it's an easy target for a joke.
Yeah, nobody's trying to shut them down, but their barbells only go up to 50 pounds, so there's only so much you're going to accomplish there.
Yeah. And they don't got a lot of free weights, and it's a rough look if you're really trying to get serious in your fitness. But it's a great look if you want to start getting fit.
Right.
Look at my list here.
All right.
I'm gonna look at this here list.
Got some bullet points.
I have a few.
All right.
I think unwillingly.
Uh-oh.
I may be turning Sadie into a prostitute.
Your daughter.
Unwillingly. I don't mean to. Yes.
7-year-old daughter?
5.
5?
Yeah.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah. So.
Okay, go on. I'm going to let you talk a little bit here.
I think a lot of fathers might be doing this to their daughters without even realizing. Or maybe not. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only asshole.
Okay.
Sadie is 5 now, right? So she's old enough to, do things to help, right?
Okay.
Do shit like, hey, make your bed, baby, or...
Right.
Bring
down your laundry.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Little things.
But she's also not old enough to do everything by herself.
Of course.
In the morning, I need to pour her a glass of juice.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to have juice all over the floor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If she wants a waffle cooked, I got to cook a waffle for her. Now, when she needs one of these things that, when it's a thing that I need to do for her that takes effort from me, right?
Okay.
I need something back in return.
Well, yeah, of course.
Now,
there's no free lunches in this planet.
Yeah. I think that a lot of parents might take a route like, hey, if you want me to be doing X, Y, and Z for you, I need you to do your chores.
Right.
I take a much different route, and I say, hey, are you going to pay for this? and she pays in kisses and hugs.
Okay.
Right?
All right. She's got currency.
So now I'm ingraining in her that her kisses and hugs and affection are
how you motivate a man to do things.
Are her currency,
right?
That can be used to get things done to help further her agenda.
Right.
Unbeknownst to me, I have turned my daughter into a sexless prostitute.
I see where you're headed with that, and yeah, you're probably right.
So I don't know if I'm wrong here. I don't know if this continues on this path. And then we're in a whole heap of trouble when she's 18 years old.
Right.
Or not,
I try to strike a balance with my son, and it's hard. It's hard because, every day he becomes more self-capable.
Yeah.
And so I feel like every day I should be dumping more things onto his plate. But I don't. He's still a kid. Yeah. I don't want to do that. But then, the trade-off stuff. Oh, you want me to do this for you? How about do this for me?
Yeah.
And that I try to balance that out because I don't want him to feel like if you just come and ask me for something, it's always going to be a quid pro quo. There's not ever going to be just, hey, Dad, can you do me a favor? And then I just do it for you.
Right.
It's always got to be in exchange for something. And now what's happened is he gets paid for his chores and he's got a debit card.
How much does he get paid?
I think he gets $5 a week.
Okay.
But also, his birthday, he gets money from everybody. All the standard things, he gets money. But then his grandmother will pay him for doing his chores at our house. Just extra money all over the place.
That sounds like a grandma move.
So he's got $100-$150 on his debit card, and he will break that out every now and then. Hey, I want you to do this for me, Dad. And I say, well, how about you do this instead? Well, how about I give you $20, Dad? I can transfer it from the app. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, this is how the world works.
It is,
right?
It is. But I don't need them.
It feels.
I don't need them all the way in.
Yeah, no. It would feel fun. If Sadie was like, "Hey, I'll just give you $5, Dad." Right. No, I don't think I don't think I'm with that.
That doesn't feel like an arrangement. I feel like if I did that to my dad, if my dad was like,
you might have got smacked.
Yeah, absolutely, right across the face. You ever fucking pull out money in front of me again, I will beat your ass.
Yeah. Although, if the number's right.
Yeah. You got to get your weight. That's the thing is I'm offering too little. I'm insulting him.
Well, he's offering too little.
Right.
He doesn't know what a grown man is capable of earning in a day.
You got to come with at least a bean, otherwise I'm not listening.
Right. Yeah. Sadie's gonna have to, she's gonna have to pay what everybody else does for a day worth of work, whether it's 8 hours or 4. She's got to come with that 300.
Right.
So yeah, I hopefully, in reality, right? In reality, I say that I'm turning her into a sexless prostitute. But in reality, I think that the lesson becomes that more so that you are cherished and deserve to be cherished,
Okay.
Because with a little girl, it's, we've seen it through our lives as gentlemen who have been around X number of women in friendship or dating relationships, that the girls who daddy wasn't around or daddy was a piece of shit,
they
have a whole lot of
different path.
They got a lot of issues that come behind that.
Yeah.
They got a lot of shit that gets astray. Who's texting me? Probably can't be anything. I think it's probably for Victoria. It's got to be.
Do you remember to get your vote in for the union?
Oh, no. Duke Cannon.
Oh. I was looking for some Duke today. I couldn't find it. I got to go tomorrow to...
You get a free brick from Duke.
Oh, nice.
So I think by me making her pay kisses and hugs, I'm actually doing more of a service in the long run than a detriment. But it's funny to think
we won't know. We won't
Right,
know for
right.
like another 10, 15 years.
It's funny to think that, we're trading affection. We're doing
labor.
We're doing the
Yeah.
hooker thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. It's working. I don't have no juice on the floor.
Yeah. What do we got? All right, we got some time. The old crocked crusader you are. I've done a lot of incarceration time.
I've heard. Yeah.
In one format or another.
Right.
Whether it was actually like behind the wall or in a program
Right.
or
Have you
rehab, which
have you
is
ever had
really
to do the bracelet thing? The anklet?
No, they never gave that to me.
Okay.
Because they knew I was always considered a flight risk.
Okay.
Because I would get court dates and not show
And
up.
not show. All right.
I would violate probation and just take off. Like they knew from very early on that
I got to keep you around.
I think they probably had it stamped on my jacket right on the front, flight risk. They never, and plus, if they were ever going to, I vaguely remember one time that they like put it on the table that I could come home on house arrest, and my mom was like, "No,
No, thank you.
yeah, no, I'm not going to be responsible for him because he's not going to stay home." And so I got jerked out of that.
Thanks, Mom.
And then once she said that, they must have made a permanent mark.
Right,
Like,
oh, if the
oh,
mom
yeah.
doesn't want them, then we got a bigger
If mom
problem.
don't want them, then shit. We don't really want them either. But if she don't want them, keep them. I guess. Fuck it. Kid's family don't want them.
Right.
And there's like, there's a lot of shit feelings that come behind being locked up. However,
I'm sure.
also some of the funniest times in my life were spent in jail.
Okay.
Right? Like, I've had fucking some of the most hilarious conversations and jokes and like, because you're fully clear-headed, right? So your mind is sharp. You're working out every day, so your body, sharp mind kind of thing, right? You don't have any stimulation, really. You have minimal stimulation.
Right.
Your brain and your imagination and what's going on is what you have to use as your stimulation to, like, entertain yourself. And there's a bunch of other guys who are in the same boat. And, contrary to popular belief, criminals are usually of above average intelligence.
Right.
Right? Like, I think that if you went to, let's say you go into fucking Camden County Jail right now, take an IQ test on a block of 100 guys, 50 of them are going to be above average intelligence. You know?
Right.
So not everybody is super smart, but definitely there's...
Not everybody's super dumb either.
Yeah. There's like a correlation between being very smart and not buying into the rules that are put in place for you. You like think past it. Like, well, why do I have to...
Right.
It's like this idea of like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why do I have to listen to you?
Right.
The
jail, the prison is more behavioral issues than intelligence issues.
Well, and I think there's a certain character that with being very intelligent comes being very unruly because you're smart enough to know, like, I'm smarter than you. Why would I listen to what you're telling me?
Right.
I was very good at thinking my way into being right.
Okay.
Even when I wasn't right, I could
You could work your way through it until you got to a kernel that was correct.
I could put the pieces, here's the wrong answer at point B.
Right.
I can start at point A and rearrange all these pieces so that it gets me to point B
and you're correct.
And makes sense.
Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
So, and I don't think that I'm the only ex-convict who had that kind of train of thought. I think it just comes with the turf.
I'm sure it does
of
because
being smart and a hooligan.
on some level, for a vast majority of the people in there, they have to justify their behavior. So they're starting with, if you're in jail, you've probably done something wrong. But you have to make it make sense to yourself why you did it and that it really wasn't wrong. They're just telling you it's wrong. So you have to have some sort of ability to negotiate your way around what's correct and what's incorrect.
Yeah. Well, there's a little comment here that says you still do that. I still do it because I'm right usually most of the time.
Yeah. You just have to prove it.
Now that I've grown into being a 35-year-old man who's right all the time, there's no other way to think.
It's a burden. Yeah.
It's tough. It is. It really is. So there was there's a lot of these negative feelings that come with being locked up, and then there is some positive sprinkled in there. Like it really was some of the funniest times I've had. Like some of the best laughs I've had were locked up. Like to the point laughing for 45 minutes straight, stomach and cheeks hurt because we're laughing so hard at something that may or may not be that funny. Should it be put on the table right now?
Just caught you the right way at the right time.
Yeah. But there is a feeling associated with being locked up that is a good feeling that is unparalleled anywhere else in the world, or that I have yet to find, right?
Okay.
Which is the feeling of coming home, of being released.
Getting out.
Yeah. There's no other feeling that I've yet to come across that has that same oomph, right? They will open that door, whether you know you're coming home or you don't know, it still feels the same as soon as you walk out. And at first, it's not all, it's weird, right? Because all of a sudden, you walk out of the door and you get buried, the weight of the anxiety of like, I'm out here now, right? Like everything has been planned for you for 6 months, 12 months, 10 years, whatever the stretch is. All you had to think about was whatever you were writing, jokes you were making or stories you were writing or raps you were doing or your workout or...
Right, you only had to concern yourself with ancillary things. You didn't have to put any effort into your survival.
Exactly. And now all that fucking comes crashing down on top of you that like, oh shit, like I'm free now. What am I going to do now?
Right.
Right? And usually, I don't know.
Which is reasonable. It's reasonable that you've been locked up for however long you've been locked up and you're just getting into that routine. And when you get out, it's not like, you're automatically going to have a game plan for what life is supposed to be like now.
Right.
So that's reasonable to get out and just be like, fuck.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
But also a reasonable thought that I think probably happens to a lot of guys. So you don't know you don't know where you're gonna go. You kind of have to start figuring it out. But there also comes this pride behind it. Like there's this pride of for me, maybe not for everybody. For me, of being at the bottom, and now every choice is an upward choice.
Okay.
Right?
Can't get worse.
Right.
Okay.
You're at the complete bottom. The only thing that could be worse is if they come running out from that game and be like, whoa, you made a mistake. You're not going anywhere.
2022, we misread. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So every kind of choice that you make in the right direction pokes your chest out a little bit more.
Right.
And there's this, this feeling of like, there is a masculinity gained through being locked up, right? Because you're around alpha type A personalities and you have to survive in that, which makes you more of a type A personality, more of a testosterone fueled kind of thing where you feel like a little bit more of a man. And this is problematic for the overall picture, right? Because you don't want to go to jail and then feel like you're more of a man because you went to jail. It's fucking terrible.
Your bid, yeah.
Yeah, it's a terrible way to look at things in the long run, but it's a realistic thing is that you come out feeling like the man kind of, right?
Right.
Like, all right, I'm out now.
You gave me your worst and I'm here.
Here I am.
Right.
and I'm about to make a good choice and head forward. So, like, here, poke my chest out a little bit more.
Right.
And then there's like there's a somewhat of a sensory overload, right? Because you're looking at brick, drab walls. You're smelling farts and bad food all day.
Right.
Or mold or nothing. You don't smell cut grass.
No.
Well, maybe some places you do.
Depends on where you are. But for the most part, no. You're just relegated to whatever the mush smells like and whatever gas that mush creates.
Right. So now you're like out. So I can remember, I wish I could remember where I got released from. But like I had a check waiting for me from months prior, right?
Okay.
So I made my way. I think I was somewhere up in North Jersey, maybe Patterson for some reason. And I made my way down to Trenton to get this check from the aluminum warehouse that I worked at, right?
Okay.
And I left them in not such a great way, right? Like I got locked up and I told them from the jump, like I lied to them about my criminal record and shit like that. And then they found out and I was like, yeah, but I promise it's not going to affect me. And,
right.
You know, and I was a great worker, but then I had this probation shit hanging over my head. So it worked, you know, I got locked up and lost the job, but they still had to check. However, I had this thing like, okay, I'm hitting the ground running. So let me go in there and collect my check and look these guys in the eye and apologize and say like, you know, I was wrong here.
Right.
I'm sorry about that. I hope that we can be okay between each other and that there's no bad blood, right? So
right.
I walk in, I pick up my check, I do that. And then that adds to the like, okay, I did one thing the right way, right?
I'm rebuilding.
Yeah. On top of the fact that I just went from sitting in a 6x9 room that was inside of a 12x12 room all day. Like I didn't have more than 200 square feet to move around in. And now I've gone all the way from Patterson down to Trenton, traveling on a train, looking at people, seeing girls walk by, you know, smelling flowers. And maybe I probably went and ate a dirty water hot dog, you know, like I'm
just something to just exercise your freedom.
I'm just moving, dude.
Right.
I'm feeling the weather's warm. I'm like, it's phenomenal right now, right? And I still don't even know where I'm going to go tonight. I have no idea where I'm going to live tonight, you know?
Right.
So I go get this check and I go cash it, and now I got like $500 or $600 in my pocket, and I'm like, shit, you know?
Time to get high.
Well, not at this point.
Not right away.
Not that hasn't happened
right.
at other times, you know what I mean? Luke, what's happening, player? So I cashed this check with $500 in my pocket, and I'm like, okay, what do I need here? Like, what's my next thing? All right, I got to get a phone, right?
Okay.
So I go buy a little cheap bullshit phone with probably prepaid minutes on it or something like that, and because you're nobody without a phone in this day and age.
No,
right?
absolutely not.
There's no way I'm going to get a job. There's no way I'm going to get anything, right?
Nope.
So now I'm a guy who has a phone and who's free. And now the next thing I need, let me get a haircut, right?
Okay.
No.
Get a shape up.
I'm lying because at that time I was shaving my head.
Okay.
So that's a lie. I'm like, all right, well, where am I going to go? The whole time I'm walking with a bop like you never saw, dude. Like
You're John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever walking with the paint can.
I'm fucking naughty by nature in the hip hop hooray video.
Right.
You know? Like I got a bop like you wouldn't believe because it just nothing is really the only place I can go is climb up. And
right.
There's a certain comfort in knowing that you're at the bottom and you're about to start building upwards, right? So I get my check. I got my couple dollars in my pocket. I got my phone. I'm like, well, let me go to my mom's house, right? Because I didn't know where to go. Okay. I didn't want to live at my mom's house, but that was somewhere to go to figure out where I was going to go next, you know?
Okay.
I wind up, no, I didn't go to my mom's house. I had called a buddy previously and said, hey, I'm coming home on this day. I don't know what to do. He said, you can come live with me.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, cool. So I go from Trenton down to Lindenwold. He picks me up and brings me back to his apartment over in Arborwood in Lindenwold.
Okay.
And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm walking into, but I know that I got a couch to sleep on, and he's a worker, so he's probably going to be able to help me find a job pretty quick, and I can start making some money, right?
Right.
As we're pulling up to his house, the neighbor's door has a rest in peace memorial out front, and his door has a bullet hole in it.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, damn.
How do you think you got room in his house?
I'm like, damn, I didn't know it was jumping off like that in Lindenwold, you know? Like, I know that they always said, like, oh, Arborwood is ghetto and shit like that, but I'd never really thought, like...
that level.
Yeah, I thought it was like, you know, like Washington Township thinks it's ghetto.
Right.
I go into his crib. The place is a mess. He's got his baby and his baby mom, who wound up later on, they found out that that's not even his baby. She was sleeping with some other dude at the time and got pregnant and told him that that was his baby. He found that out 3 years into this, which is fucking crazy.
Okay.
I walk in, the place is a mess. There's like clothes everywhere and baby shit in the tub, and it's just fucked up. And I'm like, oh man. I went from keeping a completely spotless cell to like, this is my choice right now. Like, where the hell else am I going to go?
Right.
And then I start seeing drugs all over the place. And I'm like, motherfuck, dude.
It's falling apart.
I'm like, look, I'm about to go meet so-and-so to go to a meeting, right? Just make something up. I'll be back here, you know, at like 8:30 or something. So I leave, and I'm like, I can't stay there.
No.
You know? I got nowhere else to go, but I can't stay there.
But that's too much.
So now here's another one of these choices that even though I'm like stressed at the time, I'm like,
you're still making the right choice.
I'm on my game, and I'm like,
right.
oh, okay, this is the right thing to do because I got the clear mind. I got the just came home shine. I got like, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling proud of myself. I'm feeling like I can do the right thing, right? So that's when I called Karen Cove and was like, hey, I know that I know that living at your house doesn't work for you or for me, but this is what's going on right now. Right. I don't know I have nowhere to go right now.
You think it was that polite of a conversation at the time?
I think so.
Okay.
And I think the fact that I brought it to her and told her, like, hey, this is why I can't be here.
Right.
She probably had a glimmer of hope.
Like, oh, he's was like, becoming self-aware.
Okay, like, well, I'm not going to leave you there in that situation. If you're saying that you need to get out of that situation so that you can, like, keep moving forward, I'll see what I could do to help you. So really quickly, I found like another spot. I found a recovery house to stay in.
Okay.
But it was, you know, the high of coming home, like kind of carried me through, right?
Okay.
And even that first couple weeks or couple months of first coming home, you're still, you can have no money in your pocket and everything is just wonderful.
Right.
You know, there's a very like I know in recovery they call it like, oh, you're on a pink cloud for your first 90 days clean or whatever it is. Like everything seems like it's great because it's just not as bad as it was.
Right.
And I think that happens a lot with coming home. And you know, the point of all of this is that there hasn't really been a place where I've experienced a similar feeling. Where you're just kind of riding high, maybe getting clean, but when you're getting clean, your chemical imbalance is like so fucked up that it's hard to feel that same way because you're just not as clear as you are after coming home for sitting for a while.
So I think being in prison, being in jail is one of the few places where, maybe the only place as far as this country is concerned, where your freedom can be taken away and there's no rebuttal to it. Like, you know, if I live in my house and somebody evicts me from my house, there's other houses I can go attempt to get.
Right.
So it sucks, but there's options. Once you're in jail, the options are gone. So when you get out, if you've gotten out under appropriate terms, and I don't know how else you would get out anyway, but you actually have hope. You have hope. You say, okay, I did something wrong. I repaid society. I paid my debt, and this is basically clean slate for me. And I love that about myself, that I have a clean slate. And like you said, and then you start doing a couple of those things that you've heard are the right things to be doing.
Right.
I went to go look for a job. I collected some money. I said, no, I can't stay in my best friend's house because there's drugs there. Look at me. I'm a changed man. And all that hope just skyrockets.
Right.
And I don't think there's anything that a person who's not been to jail could compare that to, because even if you are the kind of person who's always making the right choice and stuff like that, you didn't come from
You've always been making the right choice.
Right. You didn't come from that puddle of shit to say, hey, now look at me, I'm doing it all correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's even hard to just like to explain, to put words to how it feels like when you're taking your first stroll down the street. It's
got to be all the emotions at once, because like you said, it's the anxiety of I don't have a plan, but it's also no one's going to tell me what time I got to go to bed tonight, and I can decide what I'm going to eat, but also I don't have a plan, and I probably don't have much money. Like, it's got to just
and
be
I got no idea what I'm going to do. Yeah,
it's like being born as an adult. Like, everything is just like, I don't know what the fuck is happening, but I think this is pretty good.
Yeah, I think guys get caught and get stuck and wind up reverting back. Probably for a number of reasons, but one of the reasons is because of how it feels overwhelming. How you kind of look at a situation and go, I don't know what to I don't know what to do.
I can't tread water here. I don't know how.
Wholeheartedly just don't know what the thing that you're supposed to do is, because you just don't know. You know.
No, nobody does. But when you've come from prison to out of prison, you don't compare yourself to the average Joe because you have this other hitch tied to your ass.
Right. I think that should you find yourself in a situation where you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you don't know what to do, just do anything.
Something.
Yeah.
Something legal.
Yeah. Because you wind up putting one foot in front of the other in the right direction, even if the only thing you know to do is to walk down the street to the park and go do 100 push-ups and pull-ups, right? And then figure out, okay, the next thing that I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to eat dinner. And now it's fucking 9 o'clock, so I'm supposed to watch TV and go to bed.
Right.
And then tomorrow morning, I have no idea what I'm going to do for work. So I'm just going to go start walking into stores around the neighborhood and seeing if they need somebody to work, right? Like, just start doing anything, because that adds up. And then before you know it, you took 100 steps in the right direction, and it starts kind of materializing in front of you of what you're supposed to be doing and what direction you're supposed to head, So just do anything.
Do something.
Do something. Don't get yourself stuck in that overwhelming feeling of like, I don't know what to do. I can't do this. I can't deal with it. You have to lean towards that like self-pride of being like, I can do this. Like, I got this.
You can't just try to absorb the big picture all at once. You got to do tiny things that build to the big picture. You can't just get out day one and be like, I need a high-paying job in the city and I need an apartment right now. Otherwise, I'm totally fucked, because that's what you're going to be. You're just going to drown yourself. You're
going to be whatever you think that you are.
Right.
And I think that that probably stretches across the board.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to be great somewhere outside of construction.
Right.
I'm just waiting for it to materialize.
Just got to figure out where that is.
I'm just trying to see where that happens at. I think that that's we're gonna end on that solid piece of information, which is whatever you think you are going to be is exactly what you're going to be. However, don't think it on some bullshit.
Right.
Think it and connect it to your spirit and your your mental and your heart and your soul and be honest with yourself. You ain't got to be honest with nobody else.
Right.
But you have to be honest with yourself and be true to who you think you like. Whoever you think you are going to be is who you're going to be, as long as you're true to yourself and you keep heading in that direction and don't get overwhelmed by the bullshit.
Right.
So go be somebody.
And that somebody that you should be is a listener of the show, and a subscriber to the show.
You should be a guy who subscribes to the GiG Podcast YouTube page. You should be a guy who listens to the Gig podcast and the Tool Shed on iTunes and Spotify. You should be a guy who comes by here at 9 o'clock on Fridays and 8:30 on Mondays and hang out and talk filthy in the comments. You should be a guy who hits me up and says, hey, why don't we talk about this? And then I'm going to be a guy who says, hey,
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And I'll bring you on, whether we bring you in studio or we put you on a phone call, and
we
can
can
talk
still do
about
that.
it.
Yeah.
Also, just be a guy who tells somebody about us. You know, be a guy who shares a good
Be
thing.
a sharer.
Yeah. Be a guy who shares.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't
We
be
would
greedy.
like to thank you for being a guy who's here and who's made it to this part of the show. I say it every time, but I'll say it once more. There's episodes released all week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There's live streams on Monday and Friday. And, there's a whole bunch of old episodes that you could watch on Saturday and Sunday. So if you like us, we're around.
We're
and there's
here every day.
There's a whole lot of us. So please, I'll tell you like they used to tell us in AA meetings.
Okay.
Just keep coming back. Just keep coming back.
It'll click
I used
eventually.
to hate that shit. Just keep coming back. I don't want to. But here, you would want to.
Right.
You know?
This is different.
So, check us out. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Cove. That's Payday Jones. We are the Gig Podcast. That's 2 G's with a mic in the middle, and we are out of here. Think what you are what you think. Peace.